Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Aquapod. On this episode, I'm joined by Scottish Swimming's School Swimming Aquatics Development Manager Erin Cummins, and we discuss the new primary school swimming framework in Scotland. Without further ado, let's get on with the episode. So, really happy to have Erin Cummins joining me on the podcast today, the Aquatics Development Manager for School Swimming at Scottish Swimming. How are you doing today, Erin?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thank you very much for having me on, Charlie. It's great to have the opportunity to come on and chat all things school swimming.
Nice one. How are things kind of going for you at the moment? Lots on, busy kind of time of year?
Yeah, it is. We are busy kind of across the company, I would imagine. Awards dinner coming up, but school swimming is very busy just now. We've launched our framework recently. We've done a couple of kind of social events. We've got a celebration event coming up. We've been out to some political party conferences. So, yeah, busy time just now, but all very positive.
So I'll just take it back a wee bit. Kind of the past couple of years for you, Erin. You started off in club development at Scottish Swimming as a regional swimming development manager, but you've now gone into kind of more wider aquatics development in your current role in school swimming. I wonder if you want to maybe just chat about that. What your role is. It's obviously a role that's never been done before. So I don't know if maybe we just want to give a wee bit of context to that.
Yeah, so when I first joined Scottish Women, I came in as the regional development manager for the West area, and that was really good. It gave me a great insight into clubs, how a club runs, how our local authorities run, and everything that kind of goes with that. And I was in that role for probably about 2 years roughly, and then the school swimming job came up for Scottish Swimming as well, and I decided to apply for that and then make the move over to the school swimming job. It's very different. It's more of a kind of a national job rather than just being a regional job. And engagement is very different. So in that regional job, it was a lot of volunteers, coaches, that side of things. But in the school swimming job, I'm dealing more with local authorities, the education sector. There's quite a political aspect to it as well. So it's been a real change for me. But I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely a different type of job, but it's a very rewarding job at the same time. I guess for me, my job really is over the last wee while, we've been kind of piloting different delivery models for school swimming. And then ultimately we were trying to produce a national primary school swimming framework. So when I came into post 2 years ago now for the school swimming job, we were just kind of starting on our journey, to be honest with you. Scottish Swimming didn't have much of an involvement in school swimming at that point. The government had done a couple of top-up programmes way back in probably 2010. And that was kind of government funded, but when that funding came away, a lot of the school swimming provision across Scotland was reduced or completely removed. So, and nobody really had, not control of it, but nobody was really kind of running with it. And the decision was made that as a governing body, we wanted to kind of get involved in school swimming. Our vision is everyone can swim. So to kind of truly meet that vision, we knew that we needed to get involved in school swimming. So over the last 2 years, we've been piloting different delivery models and then developed a school swimming framework as well, which has been great to be a part of.
Yeah, so I guess when you came in, there's no real framework there at all. The school swimming's been done, but it's been done sort of on a bit of an ad hoc basis across local authorities, and it's totally different. How then do you sort of start that process, Erin, of that work to try and work out how we can get this thing off the ground and maybe have a bit more of a national look? And you mentioned kind of the different delivery models. I don't know if you want to maybe go into some of them and how they came about and how you sort of assessed that as well.
Yeah, so like you said, it's the national picture is very, very varied. We have some areas that are delivering some great school swimming provision, and then other areas we have absolutely no school swimming. So across Scotland, there's not really a one size fits all. And I think when we've been kind of working through the stuff that we've been doing the last 2 years, we've had to recognise that there isn't going to be a one size fits all. What works up in Shetland isn't necessarily going to work across the Central Belt. And delivery within a local authority, you've got rural and urban areas, so it's not always going to be the same within a local authority as well. So for us, we wanted to produce a framework that was kind of standardised in terms of kind of the outcomes in the pool, but wasn't necessarily standardised in how you deliver that school swimming provision. So when I mentioned those 4 different delivery models, it was kind of models that were already being implemented by local authorities, and then there was a couple that we wanted to trial out as well. So we worked with 4 different local authorities and piloted those models. So the first one was like a universal approach, and we went into areas of deprivation in North Lanarkshire, and everyone in a primary school class of about primary 5 got access to a school swimming block. We then looked at a targeted approach. So in East Lothian, we assessed all of the year group, and those that were kind of deemed non-competent swimmers then got access to school swimming provision, and those that were deemed competent then got some kind of follow-up free swims from East Lothian Council. The third one we looked at was more of like a holistic approach. So we went to Baldragon High School in Dundee, which was again in an area of deprivation, and we took some of the senior high school pupils and put them through their Scottish Swimming teaching qualification. And whilst they were doing that teaching qualification, they also assisted with the primary school lessons for the local Custer primary. And it was really great to see that the senior pupils kind of helping those younger pupils, but also it provided them with a tangible job at the end of it. So for some of those kids, it was the difference between staying in school and leaving school, going through that qualification. So that was really rewarding to see that. And then the last approach we looked at was more of a rural one. So trying to increase the time on task for those kids in those schools that are having to travel a significant distance to their closest pool. So trying to maximise maybe what they were doing on the bus, could we provide them with activities to do, learn about the water safety code, and then when we're at the venue, kind of increase the time in the pool, but also trying to increase the time at the venue. So provide a classroom to maybe do some more like kind of maths, that sort of thing. So they've just got some kind of greater length of time at that facility as well. So yeah, we wanted to be able to kind of provide the different options for local authorities on how they deliver it. And you truly can deliver it. It just depends on kind of your resource and your local authorities kind of need. And so those delivery models are there for kind of everyone to pick and choose from, take bits that they like from different models. But ultimately that National Primary School Swimming Framework's there to try and kind of standardise what's been delivered in the pool, and then hopefully for us to get a bit of baseline as to kind of the level of school swimming across Scotland as well.
Yeah, I quite liked what you said there about sort of maximising the impact for every child, and I guess that is kind of what this needs to do, because you're not going to get the time with a child in school swimming as you are within community learn to swim, just out of practicality, and that's unfortunately just the way it'll have to be. How do we go about that then? How does the framework kind of allow that to sort of come to the fore?
Yeah, so it's probably worth like just highlighting the differences between our community learn to swim and our school swimming framework. So we obviously have our national learn to swim framework in partnership with Scottish Swimming, and that's delivered across, I think we've got 39 partners on that now. Alan and Gordon have been on previously and chatted all things learn to swim. But that framework is really there for kids to learn to swim. So they're coming on a weekly basis over a number of years, and they're learning to swim. And that's always going to be our pathway into our sport and our pathway into our clubs. Given the limited time that we have with kind of primary school pupils for school swimming, it can be as little as kind of 6 weeks of 30-minute kind of sessions. We knew that we weren't going to teach kids to swim in a school swimming setting, but we could try and kind of increase their water competence and their kind of awareness of water safety. So the primary school swimming framework has a real focus on water safety and the basic water safety skills associated with that as well. And I think that's been taken positively from the areas that are delivering the primary school swimming framework for us. It's been a kind of highlight for them, seeing that shift from learn to swim to water safety. And I think it's come positively from schools as well, which is really good. So yeah, it's probably really important to highlight those two differences, but we know that there's a number of kids that aren't getting access to that community learn to swim, whether that be cost, access, waiting lists, that sort of thing. So we need to make sure that we're providing an opportunity for those kids that aren't getting access to that, so that they are safer in and around and on water. And the kind of the main way to do that, we believe, is through curriculum time, school swimming, and providing that basic water competency for them.
I guess in Scotland as well, that context is so important. With us being an island nation and unfortunately having some quite negative stats around water safety. So really, it's trying to turn that turn that around a little bit and focus in on that water safety messaging, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We've worked really closely with Water Safety Scotland. So they're a partner that we kind of pride ourselves being heavily involved with. And Water Safety Scotland have actually worked with Education Scotland prior to produce what they call a progression pathway. So it's a number of education resources for school teachers, and it's kind of like classroom activity sheets, PowerPoints, and all the notes that you need associated with it. So any teacher can pick that up for every stage of the curriculum and deliver kind of in classroom water safety messaging to the kids and ensuring that they know how to stay safe and the dangers of water. So because that was already in place, we wanted to make sure that we were kind of reiterating that message within the primary school swimming framework. So it's really positive for us to be able to try and provide that kind of practical experience to enhance the learning that they're hopefully getting in the classroom with their primary school teachers. So yeah, and unfortunately we do have kind of disproportionately high drowning rates in Scotland compared to the rest of the UK. So I think it's really important that we're providing that opportunity for kids to learn the kind of water safety in the classroom, but also to kind of experience that real life in a pool and try and get into that water environment.
So the framework was obviously launched this summer, which was really good after a couple of years of really hard work from yourself and others as well within the wider team. What it, does that now mean? How is it going to sort of be rolled out, and what are the kind of goals for this brand new framework?
Yeah, so we launched the framework during Drowning Prevention Week. Over the last kind of couple of years, we've slowly kind of increased the number of local authorities that were kind of piloting the framework for us, which was really great. So we do believe it's a robust framework that kind of fit for purpose. We had a lot of great feedback from those that were involved in it, which was really positive. So that framework is now there and readily available for local authorities to adopt. It sits on our website for anyone who wants to go and have a wee look at it. So yeah, we would just encourage any local authority that wants to take up the framework or engage in the framework to get in touch with myself and have a conversation about that. Ultimately, the big goal for us is to make sure that every local authority is delivering school swimming and kind of delivering that national primary school swimming framework. That would be the ultimate goal for us at the end of the day. We do have a number of kind of support and resources that go alongside that framework. So if anyone's kind of keen to get access to the resources, some of the training, reward and recognition that goes alongside that, again, I would just encourage you to get in touch. And then hopefully we can increase the number of local authorities that are delivering it and have similar provision across Scotland.
So I guess to do some of that work, there must be or there is maybe an ask of other bodies, for example, the government, and asking for a little bit of help around that. What kind of is that? What are we asking for? What are we maybe looking for to kind of push this forward and ensure that it's making the impact we want it to make?
Yeah, so I'm sure everyone's aware that there's probably a number of barriers with school swimming and cost being the biggest barrier to school swimming. It's not mandatory on the curriculum, so there's no expectation of local authorities or schools to deliver it. And because it's kind of not mandatory on there, then it's up to kind of the local authority or in some cases a primary school head teacher to decide if they want to deliver it. Cost and the cost of transport tends to be the kind of biggest barrier towards it. So we have written to the Scottish Government asking for long-term ring-fenced funding to support school swimming provision across the country. When we were delivering the pilots, we were lucky enough to have support from the Scottish Government and Sport Scotland to deliver those pilots, to develop the framework. But what was kind of came through loud and clear from those pilots and that framework delivery was that the funding needed to be long term to ensure that it was sustainable. Kind of one-off pots of money weren't working for local authorities. They needed to know that they were going to have long-term funding so that they could kind of secure the teachers that they needed to deliver it on contracts rather than on an ad hoc basis, secure kind of contracts for transport, again, on a kind of 3-yearly basis rather than a yearly basis. So hence the ask of the long-term funding from the Scottish Government. And we hope by hopefully getting some of that money from the government, that it will support local authorities that are already delivering school swimming provision. So it might enhance what they're delivering. It might enhance what they're able to do for those that aren't getting access to our community learn to swim, so provide more of a provision for them. And then ultimately, hopefully help the areas that have no school swimming provision kind of get it off the ground and provide something for the kids within that local authority as well.
I guess what has been really positive so far has been the support for it, though. Politically, across parties, we've had a lot of support. I know John Swinney signed our banner that was at the SNP conference a couple of weeks ago. Anna Sarwar's been pictured kind of involved as well. So there is that genuine support, isn't there? But it's just about making that reality, and it's not always easy. Things are being cut, left, right, and centre, unfortunately. So it is an ask, but it's one that's worthwhile, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's not just kind of the political support for it as well, the support from primary school head teachers, kind of local authorities that are delivering our community learn to swim programme. Everyone wants to make it work. Everyone is willing to come together and make it work. I think where it's worked the best is where there's been like a collaborative approach. So you've had the local primary school, local secondary school, active schools, the kind of local leisure trust or council, swim lesson provider, and education all coming together to pool every resource that they have together to provide that opportunity for the kids. So there's most definitely an appetite there. I think everyone recognises that it's not just a life skill that can lead you to a kind of happy life. It can provide you with opportunities to kind of achieve at club level and stuff, but ultimately it's a skill that could potentially save your life one day, and everyone should have the opportunity to learn that skill. So yeah, support's been massive for it. You mentioned SNP conference. We went along and had a school swimming stand there to try and kind of drum up some support towards it and the framework, and we're going to do the same thing at other political party conferences as well. So it's just really great to get out there and kind of spread awareness of the framework being there, and also continue to kind of build on that support. But you're right, support only goes so far, and ultimately we are going to need some investment from the Scottish Government to help kind of make sure that it's a national rollout of the framework, and we are providing that opportunity for every child at some point in their primary school kind of education to receive access to school swimming sessions.
A few risks there anyway, but a lot of positives to look forward to as well. And we are currently in Learn to Swim month as well, Erin. You're obviously part of the wider kind of More Swimmers team. I know you mentioned earlier with Alan and Gordon, who are previous guests on the podcast. I wonder if you want just quickly before we wrap up, just to talk a little bit about Learn to Swim month, maybe about the kind of, why it's important for us to do this, and how people can get involved, I guess, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So Learn to Swim Month is one of our kind of 4 campaigns as part of the kind of Learn to Swim framework, and it runs throughout the whole of September. It's really there to kind of spread the awareness of the importance of learning to swim, highlight some of the fantastic work that our teachers do, our partners on the Learn to Swim framework do, and just to try and get everyone involved ultimately. So we'll be sharing a number of things kind of on social media over the month of September. We have our partners that are hopefully going to be doing some different things in and around their facilities. And ultimately, we would just encourage you to kind of get involved, kind of share some of the things that we're putting on social media. But I guess the biggest thing is to kind of go down to your local leisure centre and get involved in actually swimming. So we're really trying to encourage families, parents, carers to take their children into kind of public sessions and just get them in the water and getting enjoying using our facilities again. So it's a great month to kind of highlight the importance of learning to swim, but equally a great month just to kind of try and get involved and actually get yourself down to a local facility and make use of it. We are hosting a celebration event as well in September for school swimming. So again, as part of that month, it's just great to celebrate all the work that we've been doing with school swimming and the work that's kind of coming soon with school swimming as well. So I'll just encourage anyone to get involved where they can, whether that be on social media or physically going to their local leisure centre.
It's a nice message to to end on, Erin. Getting out for a swim and learning to swim month. So it sounds like a good plan. So I'll certainly get involved in that sense. But thank you very much, Erin, for coming on. Really appreciate your time. And yeah, thanks again.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks again to Erin, and thank you all for listening to this episode. To catch previous episodes, catch us on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. Until next time.